Hi, Soupy.
Hi, Mummy Bear. We have a chit-chat coming. It is episode 74.
It is. Now, you may know him from Homefront, Top of the Pops, Come Dine With Me, Only Fools on Horses, Strictly Come Dancing, Gardening Together, Greatest Gardens. The list is endless.
It is.
But not just that, also you will know him from his incredible and elaborate and fantastical show gardens at Chelsea.
Yes.
It is indeed the one, the only, Diarmuid Gavin.
Diarmuid Gavin. Oh, yes, people.
So we do need to set the scene.
Yes.
Diarmuid is in his kitchen and he's on an iPad that wouldn't rotate the image.
So we were on our sides.
Yeah, he was looking at us at a 90-degree angle throughout this chat.
Yeah.
But it also meant that when he was trying to point to things in the background on his screen, it was all kind of a bit of a mishmash because everything was at the wrong angle. So he was struggling to point out where a Dixonia was and where the gap was in his kitchen. So you'll hear that a bit. It is at the time when he's talking about the work that he had done on his kitchen. So just that you can picture what grief poor Diarmuid was dealing with at that point.
It was grief. He went through all 5 stages.
But this was a fantastic chat, wasn't it?
It was. I would call this podcast, this episode, really juicy. There was so much to it. You have the stone, the really dense part, which is quite hard and quite
what analogy are we using
deep.
Here?
You have the fleshy part, which is quite soft and sweet and just chill to listen to. And then you have the rind, which has got a bit of a tanginess.
Right.
So yes, that's the analogy.
I thought you were going along the lines of a peach because you have a stone, but then you have a rind. So
oh my gosh, what fruit was I going for?
Well, my overriding feeling from this chat was that basically everything Diarmuid does, there's always an injection of fun. And he also makes you feel like anything's possible. And I came away feeling very, very inspired. You know, if you have an idea or if you want to do something, just do it. Don't worry about failure or what people think. Have courage of your convictions. Go for it.
Absolutely.
But we do have a very interesting and varied chat, as you mentioned, your peach/lemon analogy.
Thank you.
There's some very thought-provoking stuff about Chelsea and show gardens in general. And the world of garden design. And there's also some scary stuff about AI that really, had a lot of concerns there about where we're going with the world of AI. And actually on that, I'm in the midst of reading Thirst by John Robbins. For anyone who doesn't know who he is, he's a fantastic comedian. He's one of my favourites. Really makes me laugh, but he's also got a very kind of intelligent approach to everything, a very deep approach to everything.
Very deep.
Some might say too deep. He thinks too much about stuff.
Too much.
But his book is amazing. And shortly after we'd had this chat with Diarmuid, I read a chapter in John's book and it really resonated. And I just wanted to quote to you, Sweet Pea, what he says.
Oh, yeah.
He says, when technology tells us it makes a process quicker, more efficient or intuitive, it is claiming to remove time, effort, mistakes and confusion. It might be worth asking, is it always beneficial to remove those things from our lives? Technology also removes accident, unexpected discovery, curiosity and human connection, all things that make life interesting and rewarding. Also, as we are currently seeing in every industry, it removes the enormous inefficiency of employment of human beings themselves.
Yeah.
Do you see how that so connects with our conversation with Diarmuid?
God.
But it is that point of, the accidents that happen, the chances that, so with your university work, when you're, researching something, sure, you can go and ask ChatGPT and it'll give you all the answers.
Of course.
But it's through you going to the library and going through books on the shelves, trying to find the information and answers that you come across other stuff as well.
Exactly.
And that's how your mind is expanding.
Yeah, and the amount of things that get discovered accidentally from researching one thing and then they accidentally find another type of atom or something like
Penicillin.
that. Penicillin. Thank you. Loads of things like that. It's really quite incredible. And it all is taken away by technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so quite thought-provoking, all of that. But a couple of things from the chat. Firstly, when Diarmuid talks about the bride jilted at the altar and great expectations. That was Miss Havisham, of course, who sat in Cork Lodge. So
yes,
that's what he was referring to there. Also, he references a Chatham Island birch.
Yes.
For the statement tree. None of us could find this tree.
We could not. We researched this thing like crazy. Could not find it.
We looked online.
I just got beaches.
To the extent that Dermot even started to question his own sanity over it. So if anyone knows what that is...
It was a psychological thriller at that point.
It's a very tall, straight tree. Ugly,
tall, apparently.
Straight, ugly tree.
Apparently it's really quite ugly, but he likes it for some reason.
Yeah. So if anyone knows what tree that is, please do let us know.
Yeah.
And it's also important to note, Sweet Pea, that when you make a comment about what you think Monty Don is growing in his greenhouse, we must be clear that you don't know for sure.
I do not know for sure. No. This was just a little bit of a thought.
You were merely suggesting it was a possibility, and in the interest of balance, he also is most likely not growing that particular plant in his greenhouse.
We're giving just a balanced view about life.
Let's just be clear on that. Now, as always, you can find links and places that Dermot's visited and recommendations that he makes on the website. So if you go onto our website, notjustgarden.co.uk, go to the Chit-Chats page, click on Dermot's face in the Rogues Gallery. That'll take you to all of those. Then pop over to the Gardens page and you'll see on the map all the places that he's visited or recommends.
Yeah.
So, Sweet Pea, tell us the format.
So, for Dermot's Dream Garden, we have the garden boundary, shed or greenhouse, 5 ornamentals, 5 edibles, 1 statement tree, pond or pool plus 1 plant, and finally favourite seating area, drink, and 1 plant for that area.
Not necessarily in that order.
Not necessarily in that order, because Sweet Pea messed up big time on the tree front.
And if you have any questions or comments on anything we've chatted about, please do get in touch. You can do that through the website, which is
notjustagarden.co.uk.
Head over to the contacts page there, or you can email us at
notjustagarden@outlook.com.
So, should we have a listen to this chit-chat, Sweet Pea?
Absolutely, let's get into it.
This is episode 74, a good old chit-chat with Diarmuid Gavin.
Off we go!
Welcome, Diarmuid, to a good old chit-chat.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Usually we have our guests come on. They've usually had a segment on Gardener's World, either a guest or a presenter. And so obviously your connection to Gardener's World is from way, way, way back in the past.
I think I did a fashion item on it once.
Right.
And that was, I think that was it. And what's more, I don't watch gardening programs, so I've seen Gardener's World when Jeff Hamilton was on it, and that's going back.
Way back.
But I know some of the people involved. And I was working with Adam recently, and I'm working with Carol at the moment. So
of course you are.
Yeah, I'm in the orbit of that team.
And the work you're doing with Carol is Greatest Gardens.
That's right.
Can you explain the format of that?
Yeah, it's a 6-part series. We're on, actually, weirdly, we're on series 3 because we made, not with Carol, we made series 1 13 years ago with an amazing gardener called Helen Dillon. And it got picked up again after 12 years, this time with Carol. So we made the first series last year, which was superb. The idea behind it is we go around the north of Ireland, visit 3 gardens per episode, and we're joined by a celebrity guest, and we give them marks out of 10 in categories of planting, sustainability, and design, and then we have an overall winner.
Wow. Why was there the hiatus of 12 years?
Yeah. I think what they realised, I think iPlayer came into its own, and they realised that programme and then a subsequent programme I made with the same team based in my own garden here did very, very well. So when they were looking to do something new with me, they looked back at that one, and Helen has retired from gardening broadcasting. So that's when Carol joined.
I see. Okay, and that's on the BBC, is it?
That's on BBC, yes. It starts off BBC Northern Ireland, but it then goes network after the first transmission in the north of Ireland.
Okay. And the series that you were doing from your own garden, was that Gardening Together?
That's right. So we did that during lockdown, and that came about through nightly broadcasts, myself and another gardener, Paul Smith, great, amazing young gardener, they'd over Instagram. So we did that for a year and a half for pretty much every evening.
Wow.
And from that, we did a podcast, a book, and then television series.
Right. And so that was based in your garden. So is there footage online that we'd be able to find of
Yes.
your incredible garden there?
Well, I don't know if it's incredible, and Carol is coming to see it next week, so yeah, slightly dreading that. But mind you, she's dreading me going to hers, so
well,
it'll even out.
You put on Instagram that you have a mystery visitor. Is that who we're talking about?
That's Carol, yes.
Oh, okay. Gosh, you heard it here first. Fantastic. So I did see that you were frantically clearing it. You were ripping wisterias off your railings and all sorts was going on.
Trying to do everything because, of course, making the programme, and we've been making it since about late May, it means I'm never here because we have one location and just outside Belfast that we're based. So Carol is never in her garden, I'm never here. And now all of a sudden we have a week to get both our gardens ready for the cameras. And we keep freaking, and the director keeps reminding us there's only 3 minutes each in each garden, so no need to freak.
They'll hide all the bad bits.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of close-ups. Yeah, that's what you need in our garden. For sure. So talking of gardening programs, you say you don't watch many. I watch certainly less now than I used to, but back in the 90s I used to watch Homefront, was it? With you and Laurence Llewelyn-Bowen.
Yes.
And you used to do these incredible garden designs. Well, it was every week, wasn't it? It was a weekly series.
It was a weekly series, and actually there were 2 series. So the first one was, there had been a programme called Homefront with Kevin MacLeod and a Scottish woman called Anne McKevitt, and I came in to create an offshoot of that Homefront in the garden. So that ran for, I think, 10 years. And towards the end, myself and Laurence took over the main programme. So we had both combined.
Right.
So yeah, 10 or 11 years of making, kind of lots and lots. Programs were very successful, so BBC wanted more and more. So we made had lots of fun creating different gardens, vibrant, exciting. The whole idea of that program was, in the contemporary age, to explore, what a garden could be for the way people lived then, and to take inspiration beyond gardening or traditional inspiration, to look to art and architecture and anything else and bring new ideas.
Yeah, well, because on the home element with Laurence Llewelyn-Bowen, he was always particularly wacky, wasn't he, and very contemporary with his...
He remained true to his style. Undoubtedly, which was often mock baroque.
That's it, yeah. Oh, yeah, good times.
But he was brilliant, and he's a great person to work with, great fun, and great historian in all things art, design, and culture. So great fun to be around.
So the Homefront came off the back of what? Was that off the back of your show gardens at Chelsea?
Yes, it did. But I created 2 gardens at the Chelsea Flower Show in 1995 and 1996. The one in 1996 was my version of what a contemporary garden could be at the time. And it was inspired by a Michael Jackson video for Billie Jean when he danced down the sideway, and it illuminated, and the men's loo in a Dublin nightclub. So quite a combination, and it wasn't a great garden. But
really?
No, it was terrible. And even while I was making it, I knew it was terrible.
Oh,
and
right.
It's almost impossible not to get an award at Chelsea, but this didn't get an award. I got a letter saying go away and never come back, because it was that bad. But it looked great on television. So
get the media going.
Yes, because it lit up and because it was different. So one night the BBC recorded Alan Titchmarsh came along during the day, and I stayed at night to show the garden illuminated. And I watched this go out on a Wednesday night, and I thought it was terrible and hated it, but it was quite exciting being on the BBC. But Thursday morning, my life had changed because the crowds around the garden, and by the end of of that week, I'd had my first television offer. So I did, which was wild, and which was to do the pilot for a gardening comedy quiz show. I'd be the captain of one team, Alan Titchmarsh would be the captain of another, and the actress from The Manor Born, Penelope Keats, who just passed away, was on my team. And we recorded that, I think, maybe a week after Chelsea in Kew Gardens. And within... actually funny. And then the thing that was happened, I was been lined up to take over Gardener's World.
Okay.
So Jeff Hamilton was presenting Gardener's World, and I can't remember who the production company was, but there was a presenter called Gay Search. Her husband was Tony Lai, and they were based in Shepherd's Bush. And I think they'd been making it for a few years. It had come out from the BBC and gone private for a while. And I was auditioned to take over, to gently ease me in. And I think the idea was that Jeff would be gently kind of retire.
Okay. And so there would be an overlap between the two of you.
There'd be an overlap, maybe, of a year, which was all weird for me because I'd never done television before. No. And then within a month, Jeff passed away. And so that was very dramatic. And he was hugely loved, especially, I think I had watched his Cottage Garden series or parts of it, or I had a VHS copy of it, and he was great. But then Alan came in. So instead, with the same team, I made the first gardening series for Channel 5, which was due to start the following year. But yes, twice I've due to be it happened much later on again, where the controller also wanted to put me in as the lead on Gardener's World. But
what happened then?
I think she got sense. I would have been terrible in both cases. But then she changed, and she did a Chelsea series with me instead called Diarmuid's Big Adventure. So I was doing lots of I think I'd worked for every station, even in my first year before Homefront came along. And then Simon Shaw, who was the producer of Homefront, rang me up and said, asked would I come along, and that was maybe the call that I'd been waiting for, but it was certainly the call that changed everything for me.
So would you, if the call came again to present Gardener's World, would you do it? Third time lucky?
Yeah, I would do it. The call won't come though, because they have plenty of really good people, and I think they have their next lineup with Adam and what's
Francis?
the girl? Francis, yeah. So yes, I'd be inappropriate. But working with Carol, she was due to lead it at one stage. I think when Monty wasn't well or something. So you never know what happens with that. With that program. But
it's a moving feast.
I know people love it.
Yeah, it's a staple, isn't it? Tell us more about this comedy gardening quiz show pilot. That sounds incredible.
We only made the pilot, so it was never commissioned. So it was just that one day in Kew Gardens, in the Orangery, I think it was, in Kew Gardens. Myself, Alan, Penelope, and then there was a comedian. So I had Penelope and a comedian called Jeff Green on my team. I can't remember who Alan's guests were, but it was just weird to come back from Chelsea, then to fly over again, to go to, and to be involved in this thing called television, especially in another country, and especially with household names. And I think I had recently married, and my mother-in-law may as well have been Penelope Keith.
Right.
So that was scary and delightful.
In equal measures.
In equal measures. And then I worked with Penelope again because I was doing something for ITV on This Morning, and we went back to the manor from the Manor Born, and we filmed there with herself and her hubby. I remember she was wonderful.
She's as you would imagine
Yes, exactly as you'd imagine. And that's a program that I certainly watched and loved, The Good Life and To the Manor Born. So,
of course.
And with that program that we were doing, that series of small films that we did, we went all around the world seeing where movies and sitcoms were made, or comedy series, if they featured gardens.
Oh,
so,
right.
We went to Dallas to meet Sue Ellen and the place that the Darling Buds of May was shot. And
amazing.
Yeah, had the most remarkable time. Yeah.
What was it like seeing some of those places not through a screen?
Well, just wonderful. In particular, probably my favorite was a sci-fi series, I suppose, called The Prisoner, that was made down in Portmeirion. To go there, and I'd never been there. So Portmeirion is this remarkable place near Anglesey in Wales, maybe 40 minutes from Anglesey. And it's an Italianate village perched on a kind of cliff top overlooking a bay, the most glorious beach. And it was created in maybe late 1800s, early 1900s by Clough William Ellis, who was an eccentric architect, and he based it on Portfunio, I think it was, in Italy. And it's the most astonishing place. And then in the 70s, this film crew went there for ITV for a number of series, making a remarkable series that nobody ever understood. Even the people who were making it didn't understand it, about secret agents being spirited off to this place that they couldn't escape from.
Right. Oh my God.
But Portmeirion turns out to be remarkable with absolutely wonderful gardens.
Yeah.
So that was one of the exciting things. But again, meeting Bobby and Sue Ellen in Dallas was right up there.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
And actually, when we went to Dallas, they were rebooting the series. So we were on set. So not only were we at the house just outside the city, but we were in the studio with them interviewing all these people. So
amazing.
That was a real
When
treat.
was that then?
I suppose that was 6 or 7 years ago.
Right. Did they reboot it then?
They made it for 3 series, and what was remarkable about it was the cast. Obviously, Larry Hagman had passed, but the cast obviously adored each other, and there were new people in the cast. So the gardener from Wisteria Lane, what was that series? I remember interviewing him, a guy, Jesse Metcalf. So he played the young JR.
Desperate Housewives.
That's right.
Right. He was the young JR.
He was the young JR.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Well, so your work, so from that one garden that even you thought was rubbish.
Yes.
Your career just exploded in a whole different direction to what you'd anticipated?
Yes. I always wanted to make gardens, but I always wanted to make gardens that were different, that kind of challenged, that weren't just pretty, and that took utter inspiration. And I found, I studied in the Botanic Gardens in Dublin, and I found I was good at making gardens. From the Botanic Gardens, I had very good plant knowledge. I had very good gardening skills, because it was a 3-year course, and half of every day was spent out working with the gardeners in the various sections of the gardens. And I could make very pleasing gardens. I just had an aptitude for it. I could go to the garden competitions in Ireland and win the gold medals and whatever. But after a while, it didn't interest me, because nobody wanted anything that was in any way different. Things were either deeply suburban or very classically inspired, and said nothing about, for me, the contemporary age or where we were now, or where, things weren't allowed to take any influence in terms of planting style or technology or materials or just new ideas. So after doing that, making kind of pretty gardens for pretty people around Ireland for 10 years, I escaped over to London, funnily enough, where I'd been born and where we still had big links, and continue to do to this day. So I went over, created a garden at Chelsea, decided that maybe if I was coming over first time and begging my way in, I'd do an Irish garden because that's what would be expected from somebody from this country. So that's what we did on no budget, on arriving in Chelsea with £300, when £60,000 was needed.
That's mad, isn't it?
It was
300
mad.
quid.
And nowhere to live and no money to buy food and whatever. So that was a real challenge. And then to go back the following year, and this was the year that I was going to change everything with this contemporary garden. And it wasn't the garden that changed things, but to have life change overnight was extraordinary, because after that second year, I just didn't get home for years.
Yeah.
You know, the occasional visit back, but I was making a lot of regional programs. I was working for a company called Action Time, who are based in Manchester. Action Time did a lot of quiz shows, and like most of the quiz shows we'd watch on a Saturday night would be made through them. And gardening was beginning to get very popular. So I joined a show called Surprise Gardeners, which again I made for about 8 seasons. And the premise of that is that we would go to a garden centre, hide behind plants, and I would jump out and surprise people and say, my name is Diarmuid. How would you like if I came home and did your garden for free in one day? And we travelled all around the region doing that. So many gardens. And we'd go from garden to garden as a kind of travelling circus. With a rather big crew. And then we'd drink in the bar until 2 a.m. and at 7 we'd be
At it again.
On site at it again. But years doing that, and it was great. And then I was doing other programs. I was doing a program called Collector's Lot for Channel 4, which had nothing to do with gardening. Going around seeing people's collections of milk bottles.
Right. Crikey.
And other stuff. And then I started making travel programs back in Ireland. So so lots happened before the Homefront, but once Homefront started for me, it certainly became my home.
And did you enjoy that whirlwind at the time, or was it exhausting?
I was confused by it because I was 30. Nobody had ever asked me to do anything in my life. It was always me begging, can I have a go at this or do that? Or could I try to do a different garden? And then for that to totally changed. And I'd never earned any money either. So all of a sudden to be earning something. And then also I'd never been regarded as clever in school. And to be told you're good at this thing called television, that really confused me, because nobody had been complimentary about anything I had done. And I'd failed every exam. And then to be told, right, you can do this and the camera likes you, and you're trying to analyze that. So it was very confusing. And kind of all these programs were slow burners in a way. So nobody knew what I was doing. Which was great. So it took about 3 years before things really started to be noticed by people. But that gave me 3 years to get used to this new idea and what life in the public would be then, subsequently.
A lot of people who have that experience often go quite off the rails and sort of head down quite a self-destructive route at times. Did it impact you like that, or did you have a good support system around you that kept your feet on the ground?
It didn't impact like that because I've always been very strong about my work. And when I'm working, I'm working. And then when I'm partying. But I didn't tend to, when we started doing the big programs, marry the two. Television industry is a very social industry, and maybe more so back then. I mean, incredibly so. But I was just doing a different program every day. So I was traveling every day. I kind of, for long periods of time, had no fixed abode. I used it through the keyhole now with David Frost.
Yeah.
And I think I used to do that in Leeds, and then I'd be doing another show in another city, and I'd just get these reams of paper faxed through and have to make a train somewhere, and I'd be carrying suitcases of clothes because I really lived nowhere for a long time.
Amazing.
So there wasn't time, there wasn't the opportunity to go off the rails. then when I started doing Homefront, all my colleagues who I used to work with in Dublin came over to be project managers and to build out the teams. So, but even then we were doing 2 or 4 gardens at a time, and these were all big bills. Every one of them would be at least 2 weeks. On the Homefront with Laurence, they'd be 3 or 4 week bills. So I would be either getting on a train or then driving throughout the country, arriving in a different town, maybe at 11 p.m. to plant a garden before the reveal the following day. So there was no time.
No
and then later, when it became very rock and roll, then it really got fun. And I wouldn't say I went off the rails, but whether it was drinking champagne in 10 Downing Street or in the gardens of Buckingham Palace or St. James's Palace and bringing art to Hootenanny with Jules Holland, there were so many fun times.
Yeah.
But
enjoy it, sit back, relax a bit more.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah. And then everybody came over from Ireland. And then, yeah, you'd have book launches, because I think I did about 10 books during that period. So you'd have book launches in the most extraordinary places, and then you'd be invited to the most amazing places. So they were all party times, but not generally when the work was going on.
It sounds an incredibly fun time. I understand it's exhausting, but at that age as well, when you are able to do that, you don't have dependents, for example, just to be able to strike while the iron's hot.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It was fun times. We were eventually I got myself a studio in Portobello Rhodes. That was in the heart of everything. Brian Eno had a studio from Roxy Music. Had a studio downstairs. Our space used to be, I think it was Zandra Rhodes or somebody like that. So we were in the middle of a very creative environment.
Proper rock and roll.
Yeah,
proper rock and roll. All the rock and rollers loved us because our gardens were different. So I went to all these recordings of other shows. I remember rearranging the Blue Peter garden with Primal Scream at 3 a.m. That was proper rock and roll.
And the bodyguard.
And the bodyguard who are the security guard who threw us out. That was all mad, and there was loads of that type of stuff. I remember one particular book. I think I was going in to see Joe Wiley on the radio, and I had every year I'd get a new from Jaguar. They'd give me a new XKR convertible. Now I knew nothing about cars, but this was an amazing sports car that I'd keep my shovels in the back seat. And I remember abandoning that in the middle of somewhere in London because I was late for this interview, grabbing a bottle of champagne and going into Jo Wiley. And she said, in all the years, no rocker had ever brought her champagne in. So, there was lots of fun times like that. Yes. Yeah.
It sounds fantastic times.
It was fantastic. And you could go everywhere. There was invites to everything that was happening. There were, parties every other week. It was brilliant.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about how you were hoping that your contemporary garden would shake things up a bit with these garden shows. Chelsea, for example. Have you managed to achieve that with any of your show gardens?
To shake things up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it did. I think then what happened after that second year, the following year, I found Channel 4 had the coverage. So myself and Monty Don were presenters for Chelsea. I don't know, maybe we did it 1 year, maybe we did it a few years. Can't remember what it was. And then I took over presenting with Alan on the Chelsea programme, and I was passing judgment on people's gardens, and I didn't enjoy that. I enjoyed the whole fun of live broadcasting. Alan in particular was very kind, training me with that. But I didn't enjoy not doing gardens because I felt I was, rather than be up in a commentary box and presenting and interviewing people, I should be down there making gardens. So I went back to make gardens at Chelsea. I can't remember what year. In 2004, I can't remember because the BBC made a big series about it called Diarmuid's Big Adventure, following the making of the Lollipop Garden. And from then on, I started doing gardens that were different and that were challenging. So gardens that were multi-storied, or one particular garden that flew or raised up, had a pavilion that rose above the crowds.
Yeah,
And then
machinery and all sorts.
yes, and we did another garden that was quite Edwardian in style, but it moved. It put on a kind of Heath Robinson performance with about 7 different actions. So plants would bob up and down, topiary trees would twirl around, and the folly would move, and there were turntables, so whole arrangements of plants. A sundial would turn over, very Wallace and Gromit. So
gosh, that's cool.
I think, you see, the thing about I'd won all the medals, and I'd won them very easily at the Dublin shows. So I didn't care. I saw what you had to do for medals, just please the judges or please the establishment. I had no interest in that. I had plenty of work because I was on telly. So whether the work was garden design work, doing other programs, doing promotions or stuff like that, I didn't need to earn my money through getting a gold medal at Chelsea. So I had freedom to be different. I didn't like the gardens that were being produced at Chelsea, still don't. And I wanted to challenge. And I think that gardening is one of the most creative of all crafts.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why it couldn't move on. Not for everybody. You know, most people, like my wife or my daughter, wouldn't want one of my kind of Chelsea style gardens or one of the gardens that maybe I did on television. They want something very different. Then we have something very different at home because they're the clients in a way. But I felt Chelsea was amazing. The RHS had built this incredible forum where they'd invite people, television cameras, and the world's press to, your garden. So here was this amazing opportunity to try something different, not always succeed, but just tell a different story. So once I gave myself the freedom of not wanting their medals, not appearing on Medals Day when the medals were being given out, so not being affected by it so much, that gave me a freedom to try and do things differently.
Yeah.
So I think what it did, and early on, I think probably what influenced Chelsea more than the gardens I did with Chelsea were looking back on the home front gardens. Because when I went into Chelsea, they were still doing very sweet but very traditional rock gardens on the rock garden bank. And there were lots of themed gardens. So canal barge gardens with, canal barges in them. The gardens with old English pubs and thatched cottages and lovely hollyhocks and everything like that. All very lovely, all very chocolate boxy, and none of which I had any interest in. Nice to see them, but it's Disneyland. So I think the Homefront program probably changed everything because that was deliberately contemporary, and the producers there were challenging me on a weekly basis to do things differently and show garden. So I think that would I say led a change, was part of a change rather than the show gardens I did. Then when I went back to do show gardens, I deliberately went over the top to do stuff that I couldn't necessarily do on the programs because of planning permission or whatever. Chelsea allowed you a different forum to create what I felt was a little bit of magic. Other people might have felt differently about it, but some people loved them, some people didn't. But I always found that interesting. I found the debate about them interesting, and I think it helped to move things on. But the thing that really moved things on were what people were seeing on telly.
Right. Okay. So with the flower shows, do you think there's a place for or space for there to be a contemporary section, or do you think the contemporary work should just be invited in and encouraged within the, all the other show gardens? How do you think it should work?
I don't think it should be isolated. I think there should be, I think ideas should reign supreme, and I think that people shouldn't care about medals. I think standards are very important. I think you should have to prove yourself before you get in. But to say something different, as part of the narrative of a show is important. If I don't if I don't have a garden at Chelsea, I don't go, I don't watch. If I do have a garden at Chelsea, I go in through the main gate and I find out where the loos are, and then I find my garden, and that's all. They're the only places I would go. I'm very kind of blinkered and single-minded about that type of thing. I think there should be a narrative where people should be excited by Chelsea, and they should be excited by the gardens at Chelsea, and they're not. Mm-hmm. And I get that by osmosis. It's the same. And designers are apprehensive about moving out of their safe space. And I think that is a shame, because musicians aren't, architects aren't, fashion designers aren't.
I was going to say, you look at the world of fashion, you can see coming down a catwalk the most extraordinary things that you wouldn't necessarily have in your wardrobe. And yet it's this sort of fantastical event. You want to go see something that you're not going to have in your wardrobe.
So as long as you have a deep belief in it, and as long as you're not just doing it for attention, which never works, and as long as you're prepared to fail, and as long as you don't mind being part of a show that has the canal barge, the cottage, the kind of standard contemporary thing, because I think people want to see a little bit of everything and decide on what they like. But I think gardens should challenge and confuse. I think they should be political. I think they should embrace technology. I think there's all sorts of other things to say. And I think they should acknowledge what's happening with our climate. So all these things have a part to play. But people won't do it, and it is discouraged by maybe the judging panel, who I'm not sure the RHS know what makes a good show anymore. I think in the television age, people want more, and I always hope somebody would come and after us and do the type of thing that would make me really jealous, or light a fire within me and make me want to go back and but it hasn't really happened. But that's fair enough, because Chelsea still does well. The other shows aren't doing so well. I think in Hampton Court, I think has gone to one every second year or something.
Right, okay. I mean, they've just started a new one, RHS Badminton, haven't they?
Badminton,
which was last weekend.
And then the one up north as well.
Oh yeah, that was
that's a good one.
That's to get one up north, isn't there?
I think that's quite cool that they've done that, because you get very different climate.
Well, it's very cliquey as well, wasn't it? To have it all down south.
Yeah, it is very cliquey. No matter what, it's very cliquey.
I think it's a great shame that they aren't open to the more contemporary visions, because it's the whole point with any of this is it's all about taste. So you're not going to necessarily love everything that's being shown, and you shouldn't either, because there's horses for courses. So you need to have things, but
maybe
really
they are allowing,
get you rethinking.
Maybe it's us, maybe it's the garden design fraternity and the gardeners who are letting them down and letting the public down. Because if I got in, and if I got in for a very long time with no track record initially in Britain, and I received an amazing amount of support for so many years from and indeed encouragement to do things that were different, always staying within the rules and regulations. But maybe it's us who need to look at ourselves. Maybe it's the garden designers. Yeah.
But isn't that because they are being sponsored? The sponsors are wanting gold medals. So
I always told the sponsor that they wouldn't get a gold medal from me.
But that's all right, because you've explained you've got all this other work, but other garden designers don't have.
Yeah, but at the start I hadn't, and at the start I found it very difficult to get that support. But I was always adamant that from the start it wasn't about medals. It was about, I won't say being brave, because being brave in garden design isn't exactly sounds silly, but just doing something different, trying something different, and exploring things other than prettiness or pomposity.
There was a garden designer, I think it was Tom Massey. There are a couple of Masseys, I'm not sure which one, but he was using AI for his garden at Chelsea year before this one, last year, and he was using it from memory specifically for the trees and a watering system, and so the AI could read when a tree needed watering and all that sort of thing. And there was a huge uproar about it, and a lot of disparaging comments from the general public about that. Where do you stand on AI being used in the world of gardening?
I think, first of all, there's always huge controversy over nothing at Chelsea, whether it's garden gnomes or whether it's, whatever. And it's something that's encouraged by the press office for, whether, because they like press talking about something. Where do I stand on AI? I think it's a game changer. I think it's amazing. I think I'm in a lucky position with AI because I already have a name, but the challenge comes for some, because very shortly AI. I mean, I went to see a new project at the weekend in Dublin as a favour to somebody for a developer, and a friend of mine had put him in touch with me, and I went down. And an hour later, I had a complete design for the guy and a complete spec sheet, and that was all through AI. But it was also through 30 years of knowledge, knowing exactly what would work, telling AI what would work, and it coming up with the most amazing drawings.
Really?
Yes, and suggestions for plants and whatever. So AI at the moment has taken the drudgery out of a lot of work, and that includes garden design work and organizing yourself. I use it all the time. I think it's an amazing resource. I think there are the issues over the data centers and the cooling systems and the amount of water it uses. But if we don't acknowledge that we're not only in the world of AI, but we're also fast entering the world of robotics and nanotechnology. So AI is just the most public facing of these new advancements. We're in trouble. And that debate in a year's time with Massey is going to seem so quaint.
Yeah.
Because...
So true. Yeah, we can't fight it, can we? Because it's here to stay. There's nothing we're going to be able to do about it.
No, and there are other AIs. There was an AI released about 6 weeks ago, and the US government, after a few days, told them to stop using it and called it back because it was so powerful that it could overturn states, maybe. And then it was regulated in some way, and it's out again. So the AI we're using now, whether that's Claude or Chat GPT, what's actually been built next level, the next wave is going to be absolutely extraordinary. So there's a lot of reassessment needs doing. But then we're very lucky to be interested in gardens and the soil, and to be in touch with something that's very real. So to have the use of that technology, but to also know what it means to dig or to plant or to experience and understand the seasons and our weather patterns is amazing, and nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think, so obviously you have a name for yourself, do you think garden designers who don't have a name, are their jobs in jeopardy with AI coming along?
Yes, I do. I really do, because there's going to be AI garden designers. There's going to be AI versions of me and Monty and everybody else, because they'll be, the big companies will monetize all of these type of things because they'll make it'll be another aid for people. I'm working on a piece of technology now called Garden Buddy or Garden Jeff or Garden Percy. That's a machine that'll go out in the garden and it'll get to know your garden. It'll tell you how many pollinators visited your garden yesterday and what you need if you want to increase that. It'll tell you about your soil. It'll tell you everything. When you go out to the garden and you're looking at your wisteria, it will watch you looking at the wisteria and will talk to you and tell you how to prune it. And so all these things are inevitable.
Wait, so this is a robot that you're looking at yourself now?
It's not a robot, because a robot will move, but it's a piece of hardware
that you take with you out in the garden.
Well, it lives out in the garden, so it's cameras and probes and everything like that.
So you're using that in your garden currently?
Not using it. We're developing it at the moment in Hong Kong.
When you say we, who's we?
Oh, people in that AI and that robotic. Funny enough, I'm doing it with somebody who has farms in Hong Kong that have no human involvement. So they're in the city and they supply an enormous amount of food, and it's all AI and robotic arms developed at universities out there. And I don't know if it probably will end up coming to market, but that I'm working on it to learn about it, and also because if it has a possibility of coming to market, I'm in a good place to get it to market. But it's keeping me abreast of what's happening in technology. Now, that same person is rewilding 1,000 acres in Hampshire, so it's not one or the other.
Yeah. Which is, you mentioned earlier about the data centers, and we obviously are on the cusp of the super El Nino, and we're already feeling the impact massively of climate change. Those data centers and the cooling farms and all those things that are associated with AI are, of course, contributing big time to the problem.
Yes.
So that person is developing this AI tool.
Yes.
But is trying to sort of counterbalance that with planting a load of trees.
Yes. Planting a load of trees, regenerative farming, and creating a venue for people to go and learn about all of this and why all of this is important. So if you're in Hong Kong, it makes sense. If you want fresh food and don't have access to land, because Hong Kong is so tiny, it makes sense that in warehouses, rather than having data centers, you'd have a farm that's producing good quality fresh food. But that person grew up on a hillside farm in Malaysia, and they know about the soil, and they're obsessed about organic gardening and organic farming and helping people understand why that's so important. So yes, hence the projects running side by side.
Yeah, it's such an interesting one, isn't it? Because also, if that person doesn't do it, somebody else will. And like I say, you can't escape it, can you? So you might as well be at the forefront of it.
We're quite behind on all this technology, because in China now they have data centers for AI in the sea, and they use seawater to
cool it.
So that reduces the amount of energy requirements for the coolers by, I think, 60%. So all of this is happening, and there will be new technologies which will help. But one thing is for sure, because we're not the ones in control of the money, and the people who are in control of the money have the power, and they won't be stopping data centers.
So, Diarmuid, for your dream garden, what would be the garden boundary?
Garden boundary would be a brick wall, an old brick wall, like from a wall garden, or stone wall, or fitting at a hedge. But a brick wall would be a delightful backdrop.
So what sort of wall are we thinking? A red brick, old-fashioned?
Maybe kind of beigey, maybe a lighter color. Red can be quite hard to work against.
It's quite stark.
So, something that absorbs the heat during the day and radiates it back so the fruit can ripen at night.
Of course.
And something that you can have areas covered and have areas left unkept. Something that you can imagine, for all my contemporary leanings, that idea of the secret garden still is very attractive.
Still in your mind. Surprisingly traditional, though, with your boundaries.
Very traditional.
Yes. I don't think you do better than that, though. And when something has been perfected, it's important to acknowledge that. And there's plenty of garden styles that have been perfected, and that would be wrong to go near.
Well, as Sweet Pea's granddad would say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I guess we're talking here. So there's going to be no mechanical parts to this. Nothing's going to pop out the top or out the side. Just a traditional.
With the garden wall, I'd like a moat.
A moat?
Yes, great.
Yes, so maybe a garden wall, but your garden is surrounded by a moat, and then of course you'd need something to come up and down. So that would be the mechanical aspects. Yeah.
Okay. And how tall is your brick wall going to be?
Oh, not too tall. You don't want it to be like a prison for plants. So maybe 3 meters at tops, tall enough to give protection, to create a microclimate, depending on where the garden is, but not oppressively. Tall enough that you can clamber up on top of, because that's what I tend to do in the garden, or any garden, clamber up to get a view, an overall view.
Okay. And do you want a gate beyond that to then have a view?
I think gates are huge. Again, coming back to this idea of the secret garden, a gate, and again, a traditional gate, wrought iron, would be wonderful. Mind you, I saw a gate, Gilbert and George, who are contemporary artists, I think in Bermondsey, in East London, maybe. They, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, designed and commissioned a blacksmith to create a wonderful gate. So that's the gate I'd like for.
Okay. What does it look like?
It's green. It has plenty of motifs on it. I think it probably was they're probably traditionalists at heart. They're very contemporary in terms of their art, but I think it was in tribute to Queen Elizabeth, so I think it has some of that sort of stuff going on. I think it's slightly Art Nouveau, and I don't like Art Nouveau. I love Deco, but not Nouveau. But this gate, you'll be able to find it online, is magnificent. So that's actually, I want 2 gates. So I want one really traditional, one what you'd expect from a blacksmith from 150 years ago, and the Gilbert and George one.
Okay, 2 gates.
Okay, Gilbert and George one as well.
And you mentioned depending on where your garden is in terms of microclimate. So where are you envisaging? Will it be where you are in County Wicklow? Will it be another country altogether? Definitely in Ireland.
I think County Wicklow would be a good place for it. Where I am we're just less than a mile from the sea. We have the mountains right beside us. The highest village in Ireland is 10 minutes up the road, 15 minutes up the road. So we have all that going on around us. And we don't get the extremes of weather. Now, we will have a hosepipe ban from next week, but compared to other places, we won't suffer as badly. So I think this would be a good place to garden.
So have you experienced any heat waves this year so far?
Yeah, we're in the middle of one now, but because I've been filming up in the north of Ireland, it's been rain every day.
Oh, right.
Up there. But down here has been glorious weather.
What temperatures are you experiencing?
Oh, God, I'm very bad on temperatures. I'm very bad on numbers.
Okay.
So it's been
hot.
Too.
Is it
I've slept outside.
Or too hot?
Huh? I slept outside on the veranda. I put the mattress out, so that kind of hot.
Oh, that's bliss.
Well, that's a nice hot.
Sleep outside. And do you get very wet there? Yes,
it gets very wet. So January, February were unbelievably wet. So I think I did a radio interview about the hosepipe ban yesterday, and I think said rainfall had been 123% more than usual. Ooh. But because I think March was so dry, it evened out. But the rain, it's not the amount of rain, it is the patterns of rainfall. So it comes down in kind of tropical
deluge.
And that causes damage, especially if you were on a hill. It would cause damage with erosion and
flash floods
and stuff like that, flash floods. But even in the garden here, the garden doesn't flood, but pools form, and they drain away soon afterwards. But
that's good.
Things are changing. Yeah.
Do you get it frosty there as well?
Very little. Very, very little. Now when we had the beast from the east 8 years ago, maybe it got down to -25. So that was that was incredible. But most things survived amazingly.
You have a lot of tree ferns there. They're not surviving.
Yeah, they were all good.
Did you wrap them?
-25. No, I never wrap anything. No.
Oh, how did you do that then?
It's just, I don't know. I got lucky. With Dixonias, generally, it's the moisture rather than the frost that gets them. And funnily enough, that -25 might have been one evening, but because there was snow, it insulates a lot of the plants.
Okay.
But even the bananas, even the purple banana, which would be tender, I leave that in the ground, and that is, I just uncovered it yesterday from the brambles and the nettles because Carol is coming, and it's thriving. Yeah.
So would you, in your dream garden, would you have your walled garden any closer to the sea, or are you happy being a mile away?
I think a bit closer because Helen Dillon, she moved very near the sea, and she moved into a walled garden. So she was a remarkable gardener, originally from Scotland, grew up in a kind of stately home. Her brother's in the House of Lords, I think, and she came to garden in Dublin 50 years ago, built a remarkable garden, town garden, one of the best in the world, and then for the last few years moved out and built a walled garden in a place called Monkstown, right by the sea. And I think she was often on Gardener's World. No, Monty came over, and I think he came over to see the new walled garden, which is now gone because that house has been sold subsequently.
And they got rid of the wall?
I don't know. The wall would remain, but I don't know who purchased it, and I don't know if they're gardeners. And Helen never minded if somebody new came in and took over and did something different.
Yeah. Okay,
so I would like to be, yes, that near the sea. I love the sea anyway, and it would, during lockdown, I did the sea swimming at sunrise every day. So to be nearer and to be able to leave that walled garden and go out, jump in the sea. And also, so then I'd come in because I have my bath outside, I have the shower outside.
Yeah, that's on your veranda.
On the veranda, but I'm planning on putting a shower in the greenhouse. So I would love to come back and have a shower in the greenhouse summer or winter. Yeah.
Outdoor showers. Yeah. Lovely. And that. What sort of size are we imagining your dream garden to be?
I would like an acre.
Just an acre.
What do you have there at the moment?
I'd say about a third or a quarter. It's not big. It looks much bigger than it is on photographs. So, and we have the field, or there is a field behind us, so that the garden morphs into that. An acre would be fine because I'd garden fairly intensively, and I don't want to be a prisoner to the garden.
No, you want to be able to relax. And everyone always talks about how in their gardens they don't have time to sit down and actually enjoy it because they're always gardening.
Yes, I want to eat and drink in the garden.
Yeah, sounds a good plan.
Well then, would you like a shed or a greenhouse if you had to choose between the two?
So I'm obsessed by both, and sheds and garden buildings were a big feature of Homefront because each time there'd be little pieces of architecture, but I just have a brand new greenhouse, which is amazing. So it has to be greenhouse.
Has to be a greenhouse. So what type of greenhouse are we talking here?
It is traditional, so I have a very traditional Victorian style timber and glass greenhouse, and it is painted white. It's in the middle of the jungle, and it is glorious.
Oh, beautiful! How big is it?
It's again that would require numbers. So,
okay, sure.
It's a nice size. It's you can fill it with plants and still have dinner in there.
Lovely! So you've got table and chairs.
Yes. It's a Hamptons greenhouse. They make the orangeries, and I work with them. So I've been dreaming of that for years, and it arrived about a month ago, and it's remarkable. But also, I'm about to build an orangery, so under the veranda is all going to be enclosed, so that will become an indoor-outdoor. So orangery and greenhouse. Yeah.
Is the orangery going to, because you're double floored veranda you've got there?
Yes.
Is it going to be on the ground floor? Or?
It's going to be on the ground floor. So it's going to be inside the cast iron pillars. So in that area behind me there.
Oh, yeah.
So I've just taken out the cooker. So where that opening is
that just a hole in your wall there?
No, there's two lovely doors there now, but
okay,
they're
good.
open.
Okay.
So we moved the cooker, and that will lead into the orangery.
How fantastic! That would
it's
be
super.
Just bliss to have an orangery. I like your greenhouse. Again, interesting that you've gone so traditional with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you planting in the ground and there is everything in pots?
No, everything is in pots because it went on a tiled floor. So I already had the terrace made about 7 years ago in caustic cement tiles in a daisy pattern. So I'm planting in massive Italian terracotta pots.
Amazing.
And again, because we've been away, I haven't really started the planting yet. I have lemon trees, 2 large lemon trees in there, which are amazing, and kumquats and various other bits and pieces. But I missed the season because I've been away, and also because even though my wife is a gardener, if I don't water, nobody's going to go midway down the garden and water. So
I did just want to ask you about those cement tiles. So they look quite ornate from what I've seen online.
Yeah.
How are they made? Are they cement with a print put into them?
No, it's all powder. So they're made by pressure. First of all, amazing, intricate designs done in metal kind of frames. And then they put a bit of cement down, which is in dust. So it's dry cement. And then the colors are all in powder form too, and then it's just pressure.
I see.
So they're not fired or anything like that. It's just pressure, and then so all handmade in the most brilliant range of colors, and love them.
And they handled being jet washed and things like that.
Yes.
Does the color fade? Or?
It fades a little bit, but again, mine are down. I did everything wrong. So I meant to seal them loads of times. You meant to seal them and then seal them every year. Mine come up like a dream if I get the power washer on the jet wash on them. So no, just good quality ones will keep will keep. And because I knew 7 years ago I was going to put a greenhouse in, I have the pipes for underfloor heating. So eventually I will do an air source heat pump in the garden and run heating for under the orangery and the greenhouse from that.
Oh, amazing.
Okay. And then the hot tiles on the floor when you come in from the swim, having the shower.
Yes, exactly.
Surrounded by the lemon trees. Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
This is a dream garden.
Everything takes forever, but everything eventually gets there.
Because you're so busy, I imagine.
Yeah, and everything, I have expensive tastes, so I have to say.
Save the pennies, then you can get it.
Yes.
Any other intricacies that you want to have in your greenhouse? Little bits and pieces?
A record player, so playing music on vinyl, but I have to make something to house it because that won't go well with the heat. So that's the plan, to get a great source of music down there, the shower and coffee making facilities.
Yes.
And what music are we listening to in your dream greenhouse?
We're listening to soul and jazz and something to process pot, which my daughter will want me.
Did you say?
Pot, yeah. Cannabis, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So yes, so the greenhouse must be a place for growing some cannabis, I think.
I see. Interesting. That's the first time we've had cannabis growing in the dream greenhouse.
Well, I think it's the first time that people have been honest.
Being honest.
Yeah, exactly. I could tell you that Monty Don's got it in his greenhouse, I'm sure.
I can't quite picture Monty Don with cannabis.
If anybody needs it, it's Monty.
Okay.
Well, talking about plants, what would be your 5 favourite ornamentals for your dream garden?
5 favourite ornamentals, probably starting with the Dixonia, because since I was a kid and I saw them down in a garden called Dine in County Kerry, I've been obsessed. Then...
well, with those, so... we know a lot of people. So, for example, I'm thinking of Anne-Marie and Andrew, who have 50 Shades of Green, a beautiful tropical garden in the Midlands. And they have a very laborious process of wrapping everything up for the winter months. Are you suggesting that they could just leave their Dixonias?
Well, in the Midlands, in England or in England. I don't know, because I would hate to give that advice. I've done a lot of reading about Dixonias, and I've seen them in all sorts of places around the world. And the guy I regard as the expert is the guy who used to own, I can't remember his name, Angus. He owned architectural plants until recently. He wrote an awful lot about them, and he said, generally, it's not the cold. Generally, he also said you can't give a particular temperature that they're hardy to. It depends on that particular plant. And he said generally the issue is them not being watered through the crown rather than losing them through cold or frost. So I wouldn't advise anybody so if you had sustained frost or sustained snow, which you might get in the Midlands in Britain or Ireland, maybe you do have to. But if I did have to, I wouldn't grow them, because I don't want to look out in my garden and see anything wrapped.
No.
And one of the beauties of them at the moment, like I'll try and I'll see if this works just by looking through the window.
Oh wow,
that's beautiful.
I mean, that's stunning.
I would, so they're badly placed. It's just I'm blocking out our very lovely neighbours, but this is the kitchen, and actually I'm really blocking the garage, which is just over there. But I have that view all year round. And then I have them underlit at night.
Oh, pretty.
And then this one here, oh, where's my finger? It's hard when I'm sideways. Maybe, no. What do I do? Or go that way?
That way? Yeah.
That way.
That is the stem of a Dixonia.
Oh, right. That's the stem?
Yeah.
I thought that was a post or something.
So that is a 12-foot Dixonia. And again, summer and winter, I have the canopy. So I won't grow anything that needs cover. Now, I have some glass cloches, and now that I have a greenhouse and I intend to be out in the garden through the winter, I might put glass. I have some old Victorian glass cloches. I might put them over the bananas, but we'll see.
Okay,
very interesting. So you talked about how you saw Dixonias in the garden when you were younger, and that kind of really interested you. Where did your kind of? I know that in another interview you talked about how your kind of gardening, you first kind of were introduced to it in a way when your dad and uncle were doing the garden at your home, and then kind of where did it go from there afterwards?
Willy Wonka, I think. So my dad and my uncle, who weren't creative gardeners, I was just fascinated by the change of space. But then Percy Thrower on Blue Peter and creating a sunken Italianate garden, the same one that I visited with Primal Scream.
Wow. Must have been an experience having seen it as a kid, and then you get to go and have free reign.
Well, yes, it was. And all our programs all the Homefront programs anyway were made from East Tower, which was beside Television Centre. So I got to, I can imagine the first time I would have seen it. And we had keys to the BBC. I lived 5 minutes up the road. On a Saturday evening, I'd drive 5 minutes down the road, try and dance on Strictly, and then drive home.
Yes, of course you did.
So it was that eventually in London, our proximity to Television Centre was amazing, and my proximity to the Blue Peter gardener. And I'm sure I filmed a few things with Blue Peter, but on Blue Peter also they did this film report of the making of Willy Wonka, the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, and seeing that garden as a kid really energized me.
What did you go on to study, or did you study in horticulture afterwards?
I studied amenity horticulture, which is a broad term for nice, pretty gardening, just ornamental gardening, I suppose. But I studied in the Botanic Gardens, and the college wasn't good. It's better now, but back then it was terrible. And a lot of our lecturers, of which there were 5. A lot of our lecturers shouldn't have been lecturing, but half a day, every day, we were out working on section with gardeners. So that's where the learning was done, and also colleagues, classmates who were avid gardeners. That's where I think I learned an awful lot. And then when I started creating gardens myself, you learn on the job. And in gardening, you never stop learning. And hopefully you never stop developing and, getting better at your craft and your trade.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you recommend if there were young people wanting to get into gardening? Would you recommend going down the academic route, or would you say maybe, you know what, just start working directly, start getting your hands in the earth and learn from there?
I'd say do a little of everything. If you're lucky enough to have access to a garden or space where you can grow, which not everybody is, but if you are lucky enough, I would just show the interest and start gardening wherever you can. I used garden in a local park because the type of gardening I wanted to do, I went up underneath the trees and started making my own garden because I would have been run out of my parents' garden wanting to change things around. So do what you can do. I would say certainly get some formal training in whatever way, and so much is available online now. And then if you want to be a garden designer, I would attach myself, and you're finding it hard to get a placement, I would just make myself indispensable to a place. And if you can afford to give some time, if there's a studio that you particularly like, and insist that they employ you, I think you have to take extreme measures sometimes if you have a very definite dream that you want to do. Volunteering is great, especially in Britain. It's a great tradition of that. And even at, Gardens at Chelsea or other shows around the country, people are always looking for, people to help out.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe do a Chelsea garden for 300 quid and start from there and work your way up.
You have to be a little bit mad or obsessional or deluded to do that. I wouldn't recommend that to any as an approach.
No. Anyways, what would be the other ornamentals?
So other echiums. I love echiums. Echium, the perennial one, candy can is a great one. Mind you, that's too tender for this garden. That I've grown that a few times and lost it after about 4 or 5 years. Wisteria couldn't, again, because I have the veranda and I have these cast iron columns for plants to clamber up. I love the wisteria when it's in flower. And
beautiful.
Yeah, really gorgeous. Yeah.
Is it a fragrant one, yours?
No, not particularly, and they're leftover, so I don't even know which it is, leftover from projects or donated when I was in the garden. A lot of this garden evolved at a time where, again, when I was never here, and batches of plants would just arrive leftover from Chelsea or something like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but no great original plan. And then, 7 years down the line, you realize, bloody hell, I have a garden here.
Yeah.
Now I have to shape it in some form.
Yeah.
And I don't grow anything particularly well. So
You sure
our soil
about
is very bad. Our soil is really bad. I wasn't here when the contractors were meant to be doing everything properly. So I broke all the rules, made all the mistakes that I advised people not to make. And it's only in the last 4 or 5 years that I'm beginning to reclaim it. And, yesterday I had another 5 tons of good composted material delivered. And slowly but surely I'll improve right the way down the garden. I hadn't pruned, so the wisteria just went mad for years. And it was only last winter that I stripped all the climbers, including the wisteria, back. And next year we'll get the results of that. So I was more interested in growth for growth's sake. And even with the wisteria, I've another great climber up there called Holbelia. And Holbelia is evergreen. So like the Dixonia, that gives me a green cover. That has a great flower. Insignificant looking, but the scent is amazing. I go a lot of Star Jasmine too. That's doing really well this year. And Rose, Gertrude Jekyll, again, didn't prune properly, didn't feed properly, but now I'm beginning to give more time to the garden, beginning to get all of that in order.
Yes. When you say that your soil isn't good, in what respect are you saying you didn't have good soil?
Just
Is it very clay?
hard. It's compact, hard, lots of shale in it, very little good growing stuff in it. So almost to plant anything, you have to get a Kango hammer out. And
Right.
That and plants just haven't been happy. So I, was gardening with a pickaxe for so long, and I had no time to spend in the garden because I was everywhere else but here. If I was lucky, I'd get here at the weekend and then get lost in the garden. But again, that's all the last few years, 4 or 5 years, beginning to change, and I'm beginning to enjoy it and dig some good stuff into it.
Well, on the ornamentals front, I've got Dicksonia, Echiums, Wisteria, and then you did rattle off a lot more than 5.
So what else have I written here? Gertrude Jekyll, Rosa Gertrude Jekyll, as much to represent all the David Austin roses and also to represent that gardening tradition. I did a documentary series for BBC4 on an episode on Gertrude Jekyll, and Miriam Margolay played Gertrude Jekyll. So that was that was fun.
That's quite fun.
And what else was it? Dicksonia, Rose, the hardy bamboo.
Hardy bamboo.
Yeah, the purple banana. I think the Echium and the Wisteria will probably round out that.
Well then, what would be your 5 favourite edible plants?
So tomatoes, spuds, potatoes, lemon tree because I'm obsessed since I've grown them. The peppers, again, because of the new greenhouse, so chili peppers and the whole range of herbs. So everything you can imagine.
All the whole herb garden.
All the herbs, yeah.
So in your garden there, do you have a dedicated edible growing area?
No, that's a problem because it's what I started doing. So originally, before I did anything else, I had raised beds immediately outside the back door with everything in it. But then being away for 20, 30, well, we're here, 18 years, maybe 19 years, being away for all those years. So traveling all the time. If you're not there, you can't grow veg. So the garden was taken over by plants. I've slightly got, with the greenhouse, that'll be the main place for growing edibles. But also I have an next door neighbour and
that's helpful.
There's an area down the end of their garden that they don't use. So maybe I will make a proposition to them at one stage that I'd move in. I used the field at the back of the house for growing something, but in the future maybe. But maybe that's past soon. Maybe I just won't be able to, and it'll just be greenhouse gardening. Or maybe I'll grow a bit in pots and containers outside the greenhouse. That might be a nice idea.
Yeah,
that could be correct.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely.
So in your dream garden, would you want to have a dedicated patch, not stealing from your neighbours or the farmer's field at the back? Would you have in your acre, you'd have a...
Yes, I would definitely want an allotment size vegetable garden. Yeah.
Would you be having it in a kind of monocrop, so kind of in rows, or are you thinking of having kind of a whole mix of things? So we're talking a bit of ornamentals, a bit of edibles all together.
No, I would have it very ordered and very controlled. I think so. I wouldn't mix it with the ornamental because it wouldn't get any light.
Okay.
It won't be able to outgrow everything else that's in the garden. So it would have to be ordered and making the best use of space as possible.
Interesting. Well then, would you like a pond or a pool, and what plant would you have in that area?
I would like a pool because I think with climate change, I have ponds. I have a couple of ponds in the garden, great for wildlife, teeming with life. But now I think I would like the pool, because once the orangery goes in, I've done an illustration care of AI, which shows the house as it could be. And there's a lap pool made from a shipping container sunk immediately outside those doors. So I think that's
interesting.
That
what
would be cool.
I'd like to put there. And I'd like to swim summer and winter, so heated. Yeah.
Okay. You want to swim lengths as well?
Yes.
So this shipping container sunk into the ground, is this a tried and tested way of doing a swimming pool?
Yes,
right.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can get them done. I'd probably get a friend to make it for me, but you can, if you go online, you can see them. They're quite standard.
So how does it work? The shipping container goes in, then do you put blocks in and a liner?
No, you just use it you can use a liner, but you can just use it as a shipping container. You can seal it up and paint it, and you just take out the wood. There's welding to be done at both ends where the doors are, and then you separate a compartment for the filter and the heat and all that. So it's a very practical solution, and quite, if it's 40 foot long, or you can get them 30 or 20 foot, 40 foot long and just 8 foot wide. It's a good
decent
amount.
Size, isn't it?
Decent size, yeah.
You don't get a shallow end though.
No.
You could build that in. You could weld that into it, as it was been fabricated.
And then you'd have a normal swimming pool filtration system put in.
Yes.
So pool house with all your...
Yeah, and all these things which seemed very strange and way out are becoming domestic sizes now and affordable. So things like saunas, every young person around here is into, spending £25 for 40 minutes in a sauna. Yeah. Hot tubs are huge, so all of those toys are finding their time. People
ice baths,
all of that, and so they all need to be considered for the new garden.
And so I'm just intrigued by this shipping container. So presumably you couldn't have a saltwater pool because it would just erode it.
Oh, maybe, but then you just put the liner in, so you could use the structure as the shipping container as your structure, as your strength, and just put the liner in.
So in your dream garden, are you going to have salt water, or are you going to have a chlorinated pool?
Chlorinated. I don't like the idea of it, but actually, when I've been in pools, it's never bothered me. So
what, chlorine?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
A question I also wanted to ask is, do you have a background in mechanical engineering? Because all of the inventions that you create for your gardens, and then the stuff that you're doing in your own kind of garden and your house, it's not something that everyone does. It's very, very cool.
No, I don't, and I would, again, mathematics, numbers, I would have been terrible at any of that, but I had an avid interest in Lego, so I think that's all here. The
like Sweet Pea.
Lego making that's coming into
it's all starting to make sense. Did you have Meccano? Or didn't go to
no, we did, but it didn't do it for me. The Lego did it for me, and contemporary Lego doesn't do it for me with all the kits, the basic Lego.
Yeah
exactly. Very cool. So we're going with the shipping container in the ground, chlorinated. Are you wanting to have it so that there is a gentle drop, or are you wanting it the same depth each end?
A shallow end.
I'd want to dive in, so and do my length, so
a diving board.
No shallow end. However, if there were to be any grandchildren, maybe.
Yes. What about when you got company done? It's not just you on your own in your shipping container.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Or it is going to be you on your own in your shipping container.
Yeah, well, we when I was at this estate in Hampshire, and I brought some of my team over, and there were it was 3 a.m, and my team and the team from the chefs from the house were dive bombing the pool at 3 a.m. So I'm trying to be very grown up about it, but I can see the mayhem. So
absolute mayhem. And will you have views of the sea from your pool?
Oh, that'd be nice.
But no, not from the pool. But what I'm planning on is with the house is creating a widow's peak. So a widow's peak is a platform, a decked platform that they would put on houses in places like South Carolina. So all the officers and skippers' wives would watch the ships from the rooftop go out, sail away, and sail back. And it was called a widow's peak because many wouldn't come back. So I'm planning on a deck on the top of this house at some stage, because we will see the sea from that.
That incredible. And very understanding neighbours you've mentioned already, so they're not going to mind you peering over the top of them all.
I think so. I think that would be fine. But actually, when you're up at that height, you don't see into the neighbours. You're too near them.
Yeah.
So you see beyond them. And, you know, when I had to get planning permission, when the council arrived, when I put up the veranda, and I had to get planning permission, and that took 1.5 years. And what did it in the end was all the neighbours writing in support of it. So,
lovely.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Very, very nice neighbours. And just to check, so this is in your garden, you can't see the sea from your pool. In your dream garden as well, I guess you've got your walled garden, so if you're sunken, you can't.
Well, no, I've another answer for that. I want to do a garden, you know, like a Chinese pagoda.
Yes.
That has all these different levels. I want to do a building that's a bit like that. And not only do I want to do it, I intend to do them, that you go into this building, you press a button, and it goes up and up and up. So you're getting views maybe out to the sea, or maybe just looking down into the garden. Last year, I was going to do an umpire's chair. The week of Wimbledon, I decided to do an umpire's chair, but a really tall one. And I got onto the company that makes them, so that you climb up, but you can also have roses ramping up, and you just sit there and look at the garden. Because I climb up on everything to get views of the garden, even though we have the veranda. So one of my next projects will be a seating place in a building that elevates, that
Oh my gosh.
robotically goes up. And
so you're sitting there and you press a button, you get shot up into the sky.
You get shot up into the sky. Nobody can annoy you. You can annoy nobody. And you have a structure that's there and isn't there because it goes back down.
Yeah.
And I've done it on a television show, so I know it's possible. So
What show did you do it on?
It was the Irish version of DIY SOS. It'll be on my Instagram feed. It's a octagonal building in the shape of a Caribbean house. Or in the style of a Caribbean house. So that the girl who was in a wheelchair was able to go in and press a button, and it
fantastic.
That's very cool. And finally, just for your pool area, what will be the one plant that you'll have there?
For the pool area, iris. I love iris. So I think marginal iris growing in a damp spot beside the pool, and Candelabra primulus.
Yeah,
there's a
beautiful.
great garden very near Mount Usher Gardens in Ashford in County Wicklow. It's about 10 minutes away. Actually voted the #1 garden in the world by readers of Gardener's World magazine.
All right.
Some time ago. And that has the most amazing collection of primulas. So
beautiful. When they all hybridize and like watercolors. So sorry, just on this sunken pool, this is going to be in amongst undergrowth rather than being paved around the side. And
yes, definitely. I'll send you an image of all of that because, as I say, I've done it. So yes, there's planting. There's a lot of planting around. Actually, I think I've put Dixonias in. No surprise there, because I would love to swim in under the fronds of the Dixonias.
Well, what would be your one statement tree for the garden?
The Killarney strawberry tree, Arbutus unido.
Oh my gosh, gonna have to look that up.
Killarney strawberry tree.
Killarney, Killaorney. So it's a very unusual evergreen. Produces a strawberry style fruit.
Looks almost like a lychee fruit.
It does.
Yes. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Cool. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, so they're native to Ireland. They're an unusual tree to be native, but they're slow growing, gorgeous bark, evergreen, and you get the fruit and the flower on often at the same time.
And the fruits taste like a strawberry?
Oh no, not
is it bad?
So pleasant. Yeah,
you don't eat it.
No.
Is that with a stone in the middle?
I think, well, because you don't eat. I
You
think
just
I've
stay
just
well
been.
away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, I think there is a stone in the middle, but they're slow growing, but as they mature, they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
I have one down the end of the garden.
Right. So what sort of height are they getting to?
Oh, they would reach 30 meters eventually, 20 to 30 meters.
Well, finally, what would be your favourite seating area, drink, and plant to have in that area?
So the seating area will be the one that rises.
Yeah, the elevator.
And drink to have in it would be a nice glass of red wine and
any particular red wine?
A particular?
Oh no, I'm terrible.
Any of them?
Merlot, Malbec, Pinot Noir,
fruity,
fruity,
something nice and fruity. And plants, I would like. There's a Chatham Island birch, because that is a very tall, very slender tree. So the building would be going up and examining. It's not the nicest looking tree in the world, but it just always amuses me how it grows so straight, up, up, up. So the building going up beside it would be very amusing to pass by the tree as you went up.
I really like that idea. What's the name of the tree again?
A Chatham Island birch. I don't know the Latin name.
I'm just having a look so that I know exactly what you're talking about. A Chatham Island birch.
It's very strange. I've only come across it once, and I bought it and I gave it to somebody, and it grew very well in his garden. But I think he's chopped it down.
Oh, interesting. Well,
I can't find it.
I can't find it either.
Chatham Island plants doesn't give Chatham Island birch. I must find out what that is.
Yes, I'd be interested.
Because this is what he called it, so I must find out what it was.
Okay.
It's a brilliant tree.
Tall and straight.
Tall and straight. And quite ugly.
Ah,
quite ugly.
Which is why Alfred must have taken it down. But I can't find it. But I'll follow up with that. I can't find it here.
What appeals to you about it?
Just how odd it was. And also because of the one that I did get. So a kind of nutty professor who had an amazing plant nursery with rare and unusual species in the suburbs of Dublin grew it. And I gave it to my friend, and my friend lives in a house called Cork Lodge, which is just about a mile from here. And Cork Lodge is the house that Dickens heard of when he was in Dublin. And you know the house that the lady who was jilted at the altar, was it Great Expectations or whatever? So she sat in her wedding dress for the rest of her life in this disheveled house. That's the house. And outside that window, we planted a Chatham Island birch, which may be as much of a fiction now as Dickens' character.
We'll find out.
We shall find out. Well, I'm going to read back to you your dream garden, just in case I've missed anything or got anything wrong. So, first of all, we're going for 1 acre. It's going to be pretty much where you are, but nearer to the sea, if possible. You still want to have a view of the mountains around you. And you're going to have the shower in the greenhouse, that kind of thing. We're going with an old brick wall, but kind of beigey tones, not that stark red. 3 meters high so you can climb on it. A moat around it and a drawbridge, very important. You want 2 gates, one iron kind of blacksmith made, custom made Queen Elizabeth Art Nouveau look, and the other one a Gilbert and George gate. Then you're going to have a greenhouse. We're going very traditional as well on this. Victorian white timber frame. You're going to have lots of pots in there. You can have these cement tiles. And you also want things like a record player and a coffee maker in there as well. Very important. Then your 5 ornamentals. We had Dixonia, Echium, Candicans, Wisteria, Rosa Trogical, and Hardy Bamboo as well. And also we have
Hardy Banana.
Hardy Banana, sorry. The purple one. And then your 5 edibles, we're wanting them in lines, nicely ordered. We have tomatoes, potatoes, lemon tree, chili peppers, and a herb garden as well. Your 1 tree was an Arbutus Unido. You wanted a shipping container in-ground heated swimming pool, so you can swim lengths in it, It's going to be chlorinated. You're going to have Dixonias around you. You're going to have the Widow's Peak decked platform nearby, and also iris in there and candelabra primulas. And then finally, your seating area is the incredible elevator seating area. You're going to have a fruity red wine, whatever that one is called, and a Chatham Island birch, if we can find that for you.
If it exists.
If it exists.
The only other thing there, the purple banana isn't hardy, so it'll have to take its chances. There is a Misa Bazu is hardy, but the purple Insete isn't. But it'll take its chances, and it's always done okay.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll pop that in there.
So how does that sound?
Sounds perfect.
It sounds like it's a lot of what you either have done or are going to be doing in your garden.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's all the dream.
Well, that's it.
I've really appreciated your time, Dermot. Thank you so much. And hope the filming goes well next week with your mystery visitor, Carol Klein.
Mystery.
The garden's all ready for her arrival.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
That's been a good old chit-chat with Dermot.